I'm standing in front of probably the most famous television studios in the world. But recently, these buildings have been in the news for entirely different reasons.
And that's why we're here, to take a brief glimpse of what goes on behind the scenes in the way of security.
The checking of ID cards forms only a small part of this massive operation, with over 20,000 people working for the BBC and over 4,000 of them working at Television Centre alone. The responsibility for smooth running of all BBC premises falls to premises operations, who, apart from the general security, are also responsible for ensuring the safety of staff members at all times. This can range from enforcing no parking restrictions to making sure that adequate warning signs are placed in dangerous areas. But remember, someone can't always be on hand to enforce the rules, so use some common sense.
One of the many other tasks covered by this department is the endless cleaning operation.
You wouldn't catch me up there. All of these things are here to help us, but how can we begin to help ourselves and premises operations to make this mammoth organisation run more smoothly? Let's go back to security. How many times have you forgotten to leave a visitor's name at the main entrance?
Yes, morning. My name's Richard Hares. I should be on the list to come in today.
That's it. Richard Hares on the list there, Dave. Sorry, what's your name again?
Richard Hares.
Richard Hares.
Should be on that list somewhere.
No, I'm sorry, there's nobody on this by that name.
Really? Are you sure?
I'm pretty certain, yeah.
Oh.
No, there's nobody on the list by that name.
This was the scene of a major fire which caused thousands of pounds worth of damage. Security officers tried to tackle the blaze but were driven back by heavy smoke. Fortunately, due to the fire doors being closed and the prompt action of the security staff, further damage and risk to people's lives was avoided. Let's ask Manager of Premises Operations, Alan Hill, what happened.
The crime squad couldn't detect how it ever caught fire. They believed it may have been suspicious. But that was a very, very bad fire indeed. We had... the corridor was gutted. If the fire doors had not been closed, the fire would have soon spread into the club and along the corridor, and the flames, once they get the oxygen to them, would have just spread like mad. But luckily, because the fire doors were closed, we had time to sound the alarms and get the people out from the club across the roof and out of the building.
What about staff who want to attempt to put out a fire? What should they do?
It would all depend on the nature of the fire. The main thing is, do not put yourself at risk. Don't risk your life. If you're in any doubt whatsoever, dial 666. But if you saw a waste paper bin on fire and you thought it was something you could deal with, if you look by each of the hose reel points around Television Centre, you'll notice that these are there, and they tell you exactly which extinguisher you can use for which fire.
Hello, there's a fire in my office, room 336.
When the fire happens, people dial 666, comes down here onto that telephone, the security officer takes the call.
That's just one special
One
hotline.
special phone, yes,
Yeah.
yes. If we feel that we need to sound the alarm, we'll sound the alarm.
Mm-hmm. Does it come up... I heard a terrible clattering sound over here. What was that?
Well, what happens with this thing here, this machine, if somebody's panicking...
What is this?
This is a computer printout.
Yeah.
If somebody is panicking and they don't give their room number and just put the phone down, we have recorded on here the time and the location of the call, so that we can get someone up there as quickly as possible.
So if someone's overcome by
yes,
smoke?
Yes, yeah.
What's this big Christmas tree behind you here?
This thing here is the smoke detectors and sprinklers panel.
Yeah.
So if there was a fire and nobody phoned us, then this would come up, and for example, we have here Studio 5.
Yeah.
Lights up, we know there's a fire in Studio 5.
Even if they're all at tea?
Even if they're all at tea.
Well, we have with us Pete Dawkins, who's one of the shift assistant managers. Pete, what's your job?
I'm the Premises Operations Shift Assistant Manager, and we're here to deal with any problems that arise on a day or night basis because we work a 24-hour shift.
In an emergency, how can staff be aware of where their fire exits are?
Well, they all receive a fire procedure notice when they actually join the BBC, but there's also the notices produced around the site. If they're in any doubt, they can always contact Premises Operations.
Where can staff find first aid boxes if they need them?
Well, they're normally sited where the incidents are likely to happen. But if anyone contacts the security control room or reception, that's the best bet. But if they contact the security control room, then there's a first aider on hand immediately.
Can you think of any particularly nasty things that have happened while you've been in your job?
The worst incident I've ever had to deal with is a member of staff was reported missing, and we found him dead in his van outside dispatch. And then we had to obviously get the police in because it was a sudden death, and an ambulance to take him away.
Now, we've all heard about temperamental artists. But what about the one who punched security officer Bob Connor on the nose? I asked Bob what happened.
Well, it was about 7:30 in the morning. I wasn't long arrived in, and the car pulled up just about there. And the guy came out of the car, run along there, and smacked me in the face, just there.
Why? What had you done to provoke him?
I'd never done nothing. Actually, I never even said good morning to the gentleman.
To the gentleman? He was a gentleman, was he?
He was a gentleman.
Despite
Yeah.
smack you in the face. So what was it all about?
Well, I don't really know. That's the honest truth of the matter. But I think he had some trouble on the filming the night before. He was doing some filming. I found out later. He was doing some filming outside.
Yeah.
And he drove in, came in and smacked me. I suppose he didn't like me.
He had to thump somebody, so...
Yeah.
And it was you. It picked you.
Well, when I heard about it, I was disgusted. And the BBC luckily have a policy of helping their staff if they get assaulted during the course of their duties. What I did then was to contact the solicitor, artist contracts, the production concerned, and we tracked down the extra concerned. He was working under a false name, because when artist contracts book somebody, they just book 30 extras, they don't. And he was working under an assumed name, but we managed to get him by various devious means with our investigation department. He gave us a false address, although we had the right telephone number for him. He was summoned. He was taken to court, but he never appeared. Bob, by that stage, was satisfied that the BBC had done as much as they reasonably could to help him out.
I don't mind carrying my BBC ID card round with me, apart from the fact that it makes me look like an embalmed corpse with Bill Cotton's signature underneath it.
Well,
And look at this, he looks like a Spanish gigolo.
Well, you look like Elvis Costello's dad.
Cheek.
But the question is, would you wear it there?
Affixed to my bosom like that permanently. There was a scheme to do that, you know. We walk around all the time with one of these pinned here. Let's see what BBC staff think about
Right.
that. OK, let's go.
If everybody else did, yes.
I'd wear it if everybody else wore one, but I don't honestly think it's warranted.
I think it's a good idea.
Why?
Oh, we know who people are then.
And if you spotted someone in a lift or in a corridor who didn't have a badge, would you have the courage of your convictions to go up and say, here, who are you?
Yes, I would.
Really?
Yes.
Core, you are forceful.
I know. I'm lovely with it, though.
It was decided that it was not a good idea. Our department, our general manager, think that it is a good idea and it would help security immensely if staff were to display their ID cards. It's something that didn't get support, and hopefully it will in the future.
It's all very easy for us to get up and rush out of our work areas for whatever reason. But aren't we forgetting something?
This sort of thing is an open invitation to the sneak thief. Every year at television premises, hundreds of personal items like this go missing. Petty theft does happen, so the only way we can stop it is by not leaving things lying around. Either put them away or take them with you. Miss!
Is theft increasing within the BBC?
I don't think it is, actually, no. I don't think that we're in a position where we can say it's any worse now than it was 5 years ago. What is happening is that we are managing to combat it more. We're introducing in the future, I've mentioned the physical security, there will also be some internal security, card access systems, that will be put into very vulnerable areas. So that will help to combat it in that way. But the general petty crime, the people that are taking videotapes and things like that, that's always going to happen. Pencils, people are always going to take that. I don't think it's increased any more than it ever was, though.
And it's not just personal items that go missing. BBC equipment, stationery, floppy disks, calculators. Remember, lock 'em away.
Morning.
Yeah, I've got a script to deliver for check-in to one of the chairmen.
Oh, you're a member of staff?
Yes, I am, yes.
Can I see your ID, please?
Yeah, hang on.
How can staff do if they see someone acting in a suspicious way because they are used to that area and they know this person should not be there? What they must do is bleep, and that's *81 555, which will contact the shift assistant manager.
What happened in the case of Jan Leeming? Where did the intruders get in?
They never broke into the centre. They actually climbed over the park boundary, which is quite a low wall, as you can see it, and they entered the site. As you know the rest, they attacked Jan Leeming. They were apprehended several weeks later. Since then, obviously, I mean, in our department, security is our business. We have always maintained that we should have the funds and the wherewithal to put in physical security around the site television centre. And that was something that actually brought it to the fore of people's minds.
Do you know how to work a fire extinguisher?
Yes, I think most of them.
Yeah, it's written on the side anyway, isn't it?
I think it's got the instructions on it. So I...
Have you read them?
No.
I was shown. I couldn't tell you verbally now, but I'd have a good idea. I'd have a good go.
Yeah, there's one down the corridor.
Do you know how to operate it?
I think you just pull out the pin and press the knob thing.
All staff must ensure that they only tackle a small fire. Whatever you do, don't endanger yourself or anyone else. But most importantly, ring 666.
And before you try and put out a fire, you better learn how to use one of these things. This is a foam extinguisher. This is the kind of thing you'd use in a car park to put out a petrol fire. Right, we'll show you how it works. Get the nozzle out there. Don't point it at me, you idiot. Point it at the fire. Right, out comes the pin. And then you squeeze this thing here. And out comes the foam! Isn't that terrific? Oh, isn't that fantastic? You know, you've really got to have a good reason to use one of these things, I'm told.
Yeah, you could face a stiff fine or maybe even imprisonment. Oh dear.
Oh, well, as we said, you've got to have a very good reason for using one of those. I hope we leave you feeling secure. Bye.